Chris Mackowski of Emerging Civil War, and I'm supposed to be in Vicksburg, Mississippi today, May 19th. I'll tell you the story in a second. I couldn't get there, so I'm standing next to the Mississippi Monument at Gettysburg. It's as close as I can get today. Dedicated in 1973, sculpted by Donald DeLue. I think it's actually kind of hideous with these feet that look like hands, kind of grotesque. Let me tell you about this trip I'm supposed to be on. I was literally at the airport at 4 a.m., sitting on the airplane, ready for takeoff at 6, and a light on the dashboard lit up that wasn't supposed to light up. And by the time the maintenance crews got it all fixed, the flight attendant crew had to then roll over because they were past their time limit. And by the time that was all finished, they couldn't book me on a flight that would get me to Mississippi. Pretty frustrating. So this is my little taste of Mississippi. But I wanted to go there to commemorate Grant's Mississippi campaign. I've become a big fan of the Mississippi campaign. My interest was first piqued because as a fan of the Overland campaign, and I've studied Grant's movements there, I'm going back and looking at how he moved across the Mississippi interior in May of 1863. It really provides a good preview for and learning ground for then what allows him to pull off the Overland campaign of 1864. Of course, he crosses the river with two of his corps, McPherson's and McClernand's, on April 29th. Has his first encounter there at Bruinsburg. He crosses at Bruinsburg, has his first encounter there at Port Hudson on May 2nd. As he and his army start moving into the state a little bit more, Sherman's corps then crosses and joins them. And as the three corps make their way along intertwining roads heading toward Raymond, Mississippi, they really kind of move like a three-legged stool, pivoting. Grant always keeping a part of his army between him and Vicksburg because he's afraid John Pemberton's Confederates are going to come out of the city and attack him. So he's always trying to make sure that his flank is protected. Of course, he outflanks the Confederate garrison at Grand Gulf on the 3rd of May. They evacuate, and that also then clears the way for him to move into the interior. Grant converges on Raymond. McPherson has a battle there on the 12th of May. Then they move up to Jackson, Mississippi, and have a battle there on the 14th of May. It becomes the third Confederate capital to fall after Nashville and Baton Rouge. From there, then Grant's going to head to the west to then outflank Vicksburg. They're going to fight at Champion Hill, the decisive battle of that campaign on the 16th of May. They'll fight at the Big Black River as Grant gets his army across. And then as they get to Vicksburg on the 19th, they make assaults against the city. They're pretty slapdash, not well organized, and so they are repulsed. So Grant's then going to try a more concerted effort on the 22nd, but he's not going to be able to get all of his forces in, and so they're going to be repulsed as well. Grant will later say that he really had to make the attacks against the city before he settled into a siege because he thought that the morale of his men demanded it. They had tremendous success in Mississippi as they were moving through the interior, scoring victory after victory, and they were riding high, and he felt like, let's give it a shot, see if momentum will carry us into the city. They didn't, so they settled into a siege that will last all the way until the 4th of July. So lots to study, lots of fascinating stuff. A lot of these actions during the campaign really merit a close look. The story of the siege itself, very fascinating. Lots of human interest stuff, lots of human drama, incredible stuff going on in the city itself as civilians and Pemberton's army slowly starve. Grant building up his army, ready for another major assault. Then kind of floating off to the east is Joe Johnston and his Army of Relief, which never manages to come to Vicksburg's relief. So lots of stuff to peel away and explore. I love it. I'm having a great time exploring, and I hope you take the time to explore Vicksburg more as well because of its incredibly decisive nature in splitting the Confederacy in half. Here next to the Mississippi Memorial in Gettysburg, I'm Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War.